I believe we are going to be live.
In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
We're definitely live. I think we were live before you even got to 3.
I think so too.
All right, sweet. So
I was channeling my inner Derek.
Yes. Good afternoon, everybody. It is City Talk Fall River. We are finally back on. I take all the blame for all the missed weeks that we've been doing this. All my fault. I'll take all the blame for that. I actually, May was just a very, very busy month, but I never had any intentions of not.
You just wanted to skip my birthday because yours is most important.
Right. I mean, I thought that went without saying.
Well,
yeah.
I was like, oh, my birthday's this weekend. I guess we're not doing a show.
Right. I thought you knew that, though. I thought that was already kind of ingrained. Sort of the same way that, like, I don't say anything without your permission.
That's
or
right.
That, you know.
I was thinking about, like,
I get all my information from you.
Don't you, though?
That's interesting. That's interesting that I get all my information from you.
Uh-huh.
But speaking of which I thought was really cool is that you've taken a break from Facebook, but not from paying attention to what's going on in the city.
A little of both, actually, because I've had a lot of personal stuff in between. So, like, when I originally, it's just morphed. It's become 2 years of so much stuff happening, and there are a bunch of different reasons. Mm-hmm. But one of the biggest reasons that I stepped back from the internet once I could go back was the way that people were talking to each other. It's the back and forth without an end kind of thing. It's like the infinite I'm right, you're wrong argument. And
that's not just on Thorpe and Fall River, that was everywhere.
No, that was on social, and not just social media, but all the internet. You couldn't read a news article without people, and I'm not the type of person, if I want to, I will gladly have a conversation with anybody where we can discuss facts and all that stuff, but I'm a listener too. So there's an end to that.
You and I never talked much about, and obviously there's a lot going on in the local politics as far as the pay as you throw stuff, which prompted you to
say it ain't so.
Which prompted you to go back online and talk about some things. But just me and you talking real quick about this topic of the internet and the lack of respectable conversation
decorum,
that people
if you will.
decorum. Cambridge Analytica.
Right? I swear to God, and I'm almost certain if the FBI were to look into my blocked list, I will guarantee you that there are people from Cambridge Analytica. And I mentioned to you when it first happened because I can recall quite a few people, I won't say a handful, but to me that's quite a few if they're doing that particular thing, saying they were there for college work. I'm doing a class or I'm writing a paper. I'm here for research.
Yeah.
And I would try to get more information out of people because, hey, if somebody's doing schoolwork, I'm more than happy to talk to you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But they would never give any of their details out.
No.
So it's like, I do believe, and I'm sure there are people going to be like, oh, she thinks that there were people from Cambridge Analytica. I'll guarantee you.
Right.
That they were here.
Well, the other thing too here is that discourse, that arguing, that going back and forth, they were collecting data off of people on social media, left and right. But if you notice, and you said you're finally back and you're surfing the internet now, if you notice something, there's not a lot of those Facebook quizzes on Facebook anymore.
Yeah.
Because there was a lot of data collection going on in those quizzes. And I remember going up and down the line on my wall. There were quizzes around every corner. I know that I've dabbled in a couple of them. If you get a Batman quiz in front of me, I'm like programmed to read something that has to do with Batman. So there you go. I fell down the trap too, but I don't think I was ever influenced by anything with this data collection. But I do think that, you put yourself out there when you go on social media. Right. You don't know who is looking at the other end of that. So I understand why you took a break from Facebook because of the conversation. But also I think there was just a lack of trust in social media last year with all the fake stuff that was coming out.
For me, it's seeing people unable to have a normal conversation without insulting. Like I really can't. Like if you've got something valid to say, you shouldn't need to insult.
Absolutely.
And and the thing is, people will push their points so much with their goal being to change the minds of everybody else.
Yeah.
And they don't stop until that happens, instead of realizing it's okay if I don't change your
Allow
mind.
someone to have a
Yes,
different
it's okay
opinion.
if I don't change your mind, but if you hear me out, I respect you enough. So if I'm talking to you, I'm also listening to you.
Yeah, there's a behavioral component to it too. Somebody's always got to get the last word. They think if they got the last word, they won.
Right.
You know?
Right.
There's always
well,
that.
I will say though, through texting and social media though, that last word thing, that it promotes a last word issue for me, because I'm not somebody who's got the last word, but I feel like if I don't reply, the person who commented before will think I'm ignoring them at times. So I did that. Gene yesterday, he commented on something, and it took me so long to find where that comment was, because he tagged me in it, and I couldn't find it.
Yeah, yeah.
So I was like, where the hell? And I felt like I
Bad.
had to get, so I think that's a part of, so I don't know if it's always the last word,
Right.
but it can be.
Well, if two people are like in a beef, like
With
arguing,
with no laughter in the end, like, because I could get into a little bit of a heated debate with somebody, but then it
you end
kinda
up in a
comes back.
respectful ending. Yeah.
Well, I'll try to find another positive that we can both discuss. You know what I mean? Like, I'll be like, okay, let's get off this one heated portion of this topic and let's go back to something maybe that was a little bit easier for both of us to have.
But people like going
opinions
down
on.
that rabbit hole.
But they like the battle.
Yeah.
And right now, that's what it is. So it's not that people want to have a conversation; they want to fight.
Yeah. Yep.
The biggest and the biggest issue you see that with is kneeling or standing. That's the biggest argument. And I've heard so many people.
What's your position
say,
on that?
The First Amendment. It's none of my business. If you want to stand, you stand. If you want to kneel, you kneel.
Do you give up that First Amendment right when you work for a company like the NFL or even the military, for that matter?
It depends. Because originally there was nothing stated in their contract. Like, the thing with the NFL that everybody needs to remember is the U.S. government is paying them for advertising. So that's where the issue lies. The issue's not, granted, we have our president but he's just using that
as a
light, pay attention to this, pay attention to this. So I'm not saying what he's saying. I'm talking everybody else. Like, discount what Trump's saying.
Well, Donald Trump is involved in this only for the purpose of rallying his base. And rallying his base a little bit. But I'm not talking about the Donald Trump part of that. I'm talking about the flag and nationalism in general. It's sort of there's a nationalist. We respect the flag group out there that, like, there's military veterans who died in service of our nation, and that's why we stand for the flag.
But they didn't die for the flag.
I just want you to. I'm just saying what is said. I'm not saying this is not my debate. What I'm saying is what is said and why people get angry. So this is why they get angry, is that they feel like they've been programmed to believe that we stand in front of the flag and say the Pledge of Allegiance and stand and put our hands over our hearts for the national anthem because of respect to military veterans who passed away. That's what many people say, not just Donald Trump. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about people that I see on the corner talking about this. You know what I mean? Like, everyday people say this. And then knowing this and knowing this information, it still is a First Amendment issue when it's a regular human being. But if you work for an agency, and again, I don't want to just focus on NFL, even though I did say that, but let's focus on any company that says when you're working under our agency, you cannot do XYZ. You can't do this. They're taking away that right, and you knowingly give up that right when you become a part of that group.
If you're notified of XYZ and you sign that contract, then you're saying it's okay with you that you don't have the right to do XYZ. Right.
Now, the NFL, specifically, now we're talking about the NFL, their number one goal, especially an owner, is to do what?
Make money.
There you go. Yeah. And there's no doubt about it that the bad press for standing or lack of standing for the flag was affecting viewership.
Do you know I have never ever wanted to go to a football game until recently, and I want to go to a football game specifically to sit when the national anthem is being played, because nothing irritates me more when somebody around me is telling me that I have to stand for that flag. And I look at them and they say, yeah, but that's your country. And I'm like, no, that's not. That was some lady who was sitting in her house who thought it would be a good idea to sew something and say it was the symbol of the United States. When somebody goes to another country and fight, they're not fighting for the flag. Because the flag could disappear today and we're still a country. The flag could change the way that it has ever since the United States started. Became a country. We've had several different flags. So it's to me, it's not, our rights mean more than a piece of material.
Our rights supersede respecting and honoring the flag.
We have the right to respect or not to respect the flag if we deem so.
The way we want to do it.
Yes.
So if I say to you, I want to respect the flag by kneeling,
Absolutely.
somebody else is going to say that's not respectful at all.
Absolutely.
And now you're in this debate, right?
Yep.
So, and
it becomes a debate about the flag and not about why you're kneeling in the first place.
Which is that is definitely 100% on purpose,
Right.
by the way.
Absolutely.
100% on purpose. But I personally have grown up a certain kind of way. I've done things a certain kind of way my whole life. I don't feel comfortable doing it differently. So I do pledge allegiance and I do stand and all, and do all that. But I respect the fact that other people have the right not to. And I don't think that they're any less of a person not to.
I'm going to be the one to say it. We go to games all the time, and there's always people who are like, I'm not getting up. And it's got nothing to do with whether they respect the country or not.
Yeah.
They just don't want to stand. It's like being in church. Stand, kneel, sit, stand. No. I just want to sit and enjoy my game. That's all I want to do. Y'all can stand up. I'll sing. I love it. Do you think that I'm going to be like, hey, military guy, I don't think that you're great because I don't like this flag. It's got nothing, it doesn't have any, the flag has nothing to do with anything. And the other thing, you see these people walking around with their hats with the flag on it,
underwear,
and their shirts with the flag on it, and they're like, I'm proud to be an American. Are you? Because if you really respected the flag, you wouldn't have it on. You're not supposed to wear the flag, man. You're not supposed to take the flag and use it as a photograph. That's not the way it works. I recently.
Wait, what if I have a flag behind me on one of my political campaigns?
I love that. But it's behind you. It's not on you.
Oh, okay.
But really, still, you're not supposed to have it in photographs, I guess. Whatever the rule is, don't have it upside down. Definitely don't put it upside down.
I was going to put it on
But listen to me. I recently had a woman who actually said to me, and they're burning the flags. It's illegal. It's illegal to burn a flag. And I said, huh? And this is a woman from a military family. And I said, it's not illegal to burn a flag. And she said, yes, it is. And I said, but when a flag rips and is torn, how are you supposed to destroy that flag? You don't throw that flag in the trash, do you? No. You burn it.
It's actually, you're supposed to, yeah. But I think they're talking about like the people that burn flag and step on it and protesting and all that.
Okay, but they're not talking about the protest. Yeah. They're talking about the article that's being burned, saying that you're not supposed to burn it.
It's actually I think from what I've seen, the only legal part of burning anything is based on hazard or safety hazards or fire codes and things like that. I've not seen anyone get in trouble for actually legally burning a flag.
No, because you can.
Right. So.
You can.
But anyway, so scaling back to Colin Kaepernick just for a minute. The reason why they
there's a ton of
kneeled.
flags that represent.
Yeah. There's so going back to Colin Kaepernick now, he decided to kneel. He actually got advice from a
Green Beret.
From a Green Beret who said that we kneel
because he originally was going to sit.
Yeah.
And the Green Beret said, "Oh no, don't sit. That's disrespectful."
But kneel. That's respectful. That's a way of showing respect. So, but now Colin Kaepernick himself as a person, he had, I believe, more of an agenda there going on. He wore socks when he was kneeling that showed pigs on the socks. And I think that was a shot at the police as well in the community. So obviously there was more, like we were talking about how...
So, no, you see how it's funny is I didn't even know that.
Yeah. So when you were just talking about why you weren't on Facebook for a little while because of that divide, that discourse, that angry discourse that was going back and forth. Colin Kaepernick's goal, he says, was to bring awareness to African Americans who were being killed, like such as Philando Castillo, which was just unbelievably horrible, by the way.
Licensed gun owner.
Unbelievably horrible. That was
the officer
completely
he had a gun on him.
Right. So in front of his child, he got killed. Anyway, so for that, I understand why anybody, not just Colin Kaepernick or anyone else in the world, why they are concerned about this kind of stuff. I can understand it. What my point about all of this has been is, if kneeling in front of the flag was your way of protesting and your way of bringing awareness, I'm of the impression that when you want to bring awareness to groups of people, when you want to protest against something for a good cause, if you're trying to do something, you're trying to bring people together. Choosing something such as kneeling in front of the flag as your mechanism to try to bring awareness, if it's dividing people more, then I think he should have chosen a different method to get his message out there. Instead, what happened is everyone now has completely taken sides on this, and we're no longer talking about the problem, and we're no longer talking about trying to bring people together to solve problems. We're just continuing to be divided.
I think we're giving, because this is what doesn't make sense, okay? So he said he kneeled so we could pay attention to violence, the police violence, police brutality.
Mm-hmm.
And the conversation is still about him kneeling, but nobody is talking about police brutality.
Absolutely.
And the thing with, I actually like what he did. I do like what he did. Because as much as I don't like the conversations that are taking place,
mm-hmm.
I'm glad they're taking place. Because all these people were hidden for so long.
We're
racism
more
was
about
hitting. I'm surprised at the amount of racism. Like the people that I've had in my life that I've actually stepped back from.
Mm-hmm.
One of my neighbors, one of my neighbors, talking about people from Puerto Rico coming to Fall River, and they were like, oh, they're getting housing, and I'm thinking they're Americans. Like, what the hell is wrong with you?
I think there's a lot of people that don't think that
they're Americans, and then you know, in parts of the country, you've got police officers questioning people for speaking Spanish. So I'm in my house and I'm thinking, but what the hell happens when tourists are in the United States mm-hmm. and they don't all speak English? You're gonna come down on them too? Like I feel like I'm in Bizarro world.
Yeah, we're definitely in a backwards
It's not
world.
So when people are paying attention to just the kneeling and the disrespect of the flag, it's like
that's on purpose.
It's to take away from the what's really going on.
And knowing that game, that's what I'm saying. So Colin Kaepernick has been a competitor his whole life. He's played competitive sports his whole life. You got to know that when you make an attack and the defense adjusts their defense for your attack, you have to hit it from a different angle. Like,
I know, but how many times did he kneel? Was it 50,000 times?
I have no idea. I don't know.
I think it was once.
It doesn't matter. I think what matters is that he is now in a debate over kneeling, rather than a debate over what his purpose was.
Absolutely. That's not his fault.
And I'm not blaming him. What I am saying is that he has an opportunity mm-hmm. to change that conversation. He has an opportunity, but instead, what is he doing? You know what he's doing? He's suing the NFL because he's not being hired to work there anymore.
Right, which he should be. He should be.
I guess. Well, I thought this was about...
But if you don't know what he's doing in his personal life outside, though, because I see what you're saying, though, but I don't know what he's doing. What I do know he is doing some things. I wish I could remember...
I'm sure he's got something
I'm not big into sports, and I wish I could remember this particular player's name. I believe he played for the Cavs. He plays for the Cavs. They went to talk to him after
Milwaukee
the game.
Bucks.
And he held up signs. Okay, so it wasn't the Cavs. He held up signs. Handwritten signs instead of speaking, and that to me, I got goosebumps even just saying it now, because when he held up the sign that said "You're not listening," that's the point.
That's good.
So Colin Kaepernick kneeling maybe didn't give it the right, but it did open up the dialogue. Even if we're bickering right now, right?
Right.
This man is saying, you know what? I know I can't kneel because people aren't listening if we kneel. I know what I'm saying isn't getting through to people.
Right.
Sign.
A sign.
A sign. You got it, because you got to take the time to read the sign.
Hey, you probably have to put a flag behind the sign, and then you'll really get everyone's attention. Also, just to throw it out there too, Colin Kaepernick, in my opinion, made a lot of this about himself instead of about the cause, and again, that's fine.
But there's two issues to that, though.
He has a right to do that
because
he has a right to do that. He has a right to do that. I don't agree with it, but he has a right to do that. But just to
fight for his job.
Just to throw a couple other things out there. There was this woman. There's this female comic. Her name's Monique. She was the mother on the Parkers.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
So she was pretty upset because other male, and actually I believe a female white comic, Amy Schumer, got really big contracts from Netflix, and she was upset about that. So she claimed that there was discrimination based on that. I felt as though she made it about herself and about her money, and not about African American females and in the workplace and making enough. And let me complete this one. So
Wanda Sykes too was in there.
Right. There's a handful of other people out there, and the thing is, had she got her contract, she would not have been protesting for black females in the workplace.
Right.
That's my problem. That's my problem with Monique. And as a matter of fact, I think there was a dude on this morning show called The Breakfast Club. His name is his nickname is The God, but I know it is his Charlemagne the God, right? So he even came out and was like, if you got your money, you wouldn't be sticking up for nobody right now. And she then
she actually, there's a lot of African American actor men and women who are in the arts who told her the same thing. Honey, you got to work. You got to pay your dues. You can't pay yourself to Chris Rock. You can't.
No.
You can't.
Dave Chappelle. No, you're not going to do that. You got to bring in that money. You got to bring in that demand.
But in
people all over the world ask, where the hell is Dave Chappelle all the time?
I do want to give Monique a little bit of a shout out though, because I think sometimes it's difficult in the way that while there are discriminatory things that take place, I think sometimes situations happen that may not be discriminatory.
Okay.
But then so for Monique, right? Monique could have just came in and said she, as a human being in the arts who is a comedian, believes that she deserves to be paid equal to other comedians. Instead, when she went around and she said she didn't even, it wasn't even about African women. There was the list. Remember I said a few months ago I talked about that. Like sometimes it's hard to tell if it's racist or if it's because you're money. Like people in that way. And hers is the same thing, because she said that Chris Rock, and I forgot who the other actor was making more money than even Amy Schumer. And that Amy Schumer then went back to Netflix and renegotiated and ended up getting more, but they wouldn't do it with Monique. And that's where sometimes it's hard to tell, is she just fighting for her job?
Or is she fighting for a cause?
But it's not just her. I think even for her, I think even for people who are in that position can get confused. Because is it because I'm a black female? Is it because or is it just because I'm female? Or is it because I'm not as good as these other performers?
Well, you know, and the thing about Monique is, you can be very objective in all this. It doesn't need to be a subjective conversation. Amy Schumer, sales, record sales. This is what Charlemagne said. Record sales. Look at the stats. If you're not selling as much as those other people, then you understand why you're not making as much money. It was a very cut and dry situation. So he got flack for that from the community, and I'm thinking he's right. When we're talking about business, this is business.
I think it's very difficult.
But it sets you back. It sets you back if you bring the race card to the table every time. As a matter of fact, I just had a conversation with the Herald News just very recently and they asked me, and it was a very legit question. There's nothing wrong with the question I was asked, but they asked me if I felt as though I haven't gotten over the barrier in city council or whatnot, and just leadership positions in Fall River, period, because of my race. And I don't dismiss that there might be an element out there that doesn't like my race. I'll be very naive and foolish to think that that's not in the equation somewhere. But I was able to get almost 5,000 votes in the city in 2 elections. I think that if there is a barrier, I created that barrier myself by not doing traditional things that politicians do to get elected in Fall River.
Right.
I didn't do chow mein dinners. I didn't do commercials on WSAR. I didn't do all this crazy stuff that politicians do that get them elected. But at the same time, I've never had anyone like directly approach me and say, "Not now, black guy." I've never had anyone say that to me. I've never felt that from anybody. I've stood on many corners. I've stood on many corners in Fall River holding my sign, and I've not had one racist person drive by and say, "Hell no." Right. That's a very easy thing to happen.
But I will tell you this. I didn't think that it played a role either until maybe a few months ago. And I happened to pop on Facebook and I saw something from somebody that I was actually surprised that made a comment, and it was about you. I'm not going to get into it, but it was a comment about you, and it was based on the color of your skin. So again, me knowing you as long as I have, I don't really give two shits. I mean, even if I would have just met you, I don't care about the color of your skin, but you're a decent individual, okay? And if I had something negative to say about what you were trying to push in the city, I would talk about that.
Yeah.
And this person, who is in politics, by the way, had a comment that was very unbecoming. And I didn't blast her out there. I didn't let her know. But it totally changed. Like, I would walk right by her and not say anything to her, because guess what? You're not the kind of person I want to talk to. You want, see you later. That's... So, and yeah, a few other people got in on the conversation too, but that's okay. It just showed me how true her real personality is. When you delve into it deeper, you see where it's really at.
Her?
Sorry, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm not going to get into the name, but because that's just not how I am. I'd rather talk to them personally about it and tell them why I'm not going to support them any longer.
And you did support them?
I absolutely did support them.
Wow. All right, well...
And actually more than I should have, because I even had people who were talking to me and not
I'll be
so
very,
nicely about that person.
I will be very honest with everyone, whoever's listening. I didn't even know about this information until just now, so that's interesting to me. But anyway, so moving on to the topic that I know that we'll be talking about for the next hour or so. Yes, let me look at my watch. You posted on Facebook, and we're going to switch chairs because I think we're going to...
I actually don't. I like my chair. I like my seat.
All right, but the thing is, you're going to want to get on the internet and look at this stuff. You're going to want to look on the camera.
You can scroll.
You want me to do the scrolling and whatnot? All right, cool. So we're going to go to this. I labeled a folder on my computer called PAYT.
I've got about 50 of them.
Which every time I see PAYT... and I'm allowing this. Every time I see PAYT on the internet or anywhere, I think of Michael Jackson's song, Pretty Young Thing.
Such a good song.
Want to Love You. PYT. It's a very nice song.
You're making me want to come up with a version of Pay As You Throw in that song.
Yeah.
I could do the whole...
So I said I'm allowing this.
I do it all the time.
I'm not going to give you...
All right. Full disclosure. I turned on my computer the other day just to get files, and I hadn't been on it in a while, and I didn't realize that I wrote a song about, I swear to God, it was...
Oh my God, you did.
It was a Christmas carol.
Oh Lord.
It was a Christmas carol that I turned into about trash, but I'm so glad that I never posted it.
I'm so glad that you never posted it too, by the way.
But when I was
all your legitimacy that you have gained over the past few years would be out the window.
Well, that's the fun that I like to have. I do like to have fun too. I think we can make fun of things. But yeah, I was like, wow, I was like, you were really
hilarious. Yeah. All right, so where do you want me to start, my friend? I was able to find...
Well, it's not the budget. The budget's coming up.
All right. All right.
Surprise, surprise! In the budget, Jazel wants to trash the pay-as-you-throw program.
So we're clear. They are recognizing that there's going to be a drop off in funding into the general fund if they get rid of the purple bags. So they found different sources of income that would make up for the loss of the bags. So there wasn't really a.
And let's be clear, the most we've gotten from the bags is what, like 1.5?
2.3.
2.3 million tops.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and it was projected to be 3.7 back in the day, 2014. I think it was 3.7. True story. Shout out to Ahmad. We don't want to get shut down over here. So the other thing too is you had about 4 city councilors just recently at one of the discussions where they felt as though this was a mistake. As a matter of fact, Brad Kilby, City Council Brad Kilby, is quoted as saying this is reckless by Jazel to get rid of the purple bags. Reckless. And then he apologized and he scaled back on it and he kind of corrected himself. I think he understood that, like, that kind of language is what
is reckless.
Well, yeah, and that kind of language. That kind of language sort of confirms that there's a council versus administration approach.
End of day scenario every time.
When people get involved and want to vote, they think generally that who they vote for is working in their best interest. That's what they think. They think the mayor and the city council is working together on the benefit of the people. They think that, usually, generally. As a matter of fact, you'll hear people like, and we've seen it in the past, Dan Rigo, continually say, I want to work with the administration.
Yeah.
I want to work with the administration. You hear that from a whole lot of people. We're going to work together. We're going to do what's right, blah, 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 blah. But when they get their positions and they get involved, you are seeing this kind of conversation. I remember Richard Cabaceres, a former city councilor, a former host on a radio station. Former. So he was a city when he was a city councilor. He made a comment towards Mary Sahadi, who carries herself fairly respectfully at the meetings. Says, I don't know what you are. Like, just insulting her position because she was a CPA and she got hired to help out with the finances and all that kind of stuff. So for someone to just talk very disrespectfully to another person, it gives you the impression that maybe, just maybe, our city council and our administration are not working together.
You think?
For the best interest of the people. Maybe. I'm just throwing it out there. Maybe. Now, when it comes to pay as you throw, the only, and I'm talking only, not sometimes, not part-time, not most of the time, the only thing that I ever hear from a councilor who, and even from a mayor when they were supporting it, when they support it, the first thing they talk about is the money.
Yep. It's the only thing they talk about.
That's what I said.
It's the only thing. Yep.
I've not heard anyone say how great it's been for the environment, because it hasn't.
Because it's not.
I haven't heard anyone say how great it's been for recycling, because you can fudge all that up. But what has gone up along with recycling is the contaminated recycling that makes it triple to quadruple times more expensive than it needs to be. So financially, it's been a disaster. Environmentally, it's been a disaster. Politically,
oh yeah,
it's been a disaster. Now,
it's a job killer.
Now, do you disagree that environmentally it hasn't been a disaster?
Oh, environmentally, it's a huge disaster.
Okay, all right.
I can honestly, truly tell you that I've done enough of research to know that there will come a time where, as a country, they're going to say we need to stop doing this pay-as-you-throw stuff. They're going to say it, because it's not. It's taking the discussion away from reducing our output of trash and simply saying, here's more money to throw to the problem. It's a Band-Aid. It really is a Band-Aid. When all the landfills dry up and there's nowhere else to bring those purple bags, what are those purple bags doing for you then? They don't mean anything if there's nowhere to put them. we're going to pay for them to go across the state rather than talk. We're spending so much time talking about let's keep the bags, let's get rid of the bags. And here we go, guys. This is year 5. Our Waste Zero contract as of July 14th is going on its 5th year. We are now going on our 5th year. I challenge, as a matter of fact, I challenge every elected official in this city and their lackeys to get any information that clearly shows that pay-as-you-throw has decreased the amount of money that Fall River spends on their trash and recycling and yard waste. I challenge them to find me one positive. And don't come back to me and tell me it's up the rate of recycling if you can't tell me how many tons of that recycling is contaminated. Don't tell me. 2015. Every year since 2015, it has decreased.
Yeah, I apologize. I was trying to get a photo shot of the contract, the people who signed it, so you'll see it on the screen right now. But it didn't really come out very clear, so I apologize for that. But it's clear for me to see.
Let's tell them who signed it.
Yeah, it's very clear for us on my screen here. The first name you see on July 14th, 2014 is William A. Flanagan. The next person is Kathy Ann Viveris, who was the city administrator at the time. Ken Pacheco, at the time, was the director of community maintenance. Dr. Henry Valancourt was the director of health and human services, and approved as to form, manner, and execution was by
the one, the only
Corporation Counsel
Elizabeth Souza.
Right.
Remember her, Linda?
And also Mark
Dancy.
Mark Dancy, the president of Waste Zero, was also in on this contract. So we are in July. We'll be in our 5th year, as Nikki just stated a little while ago.
5th year. We're going into the 5th year of the contract.
We were able to track this down, and I'll keep this on the computer for future references. I'm not sure what's going to happen now. The big debate was whether or not the city council even has a say if the mayor wants to get rid of the purple bags. Now, what's your position on all this? What's your opinion and position on all this? Okay. And let's have a conversation why.
It's because they don't.
Oh, well, then this is the conversation.
Show me where they do.
Oh, me?
One of the greatest lines I think I've ever heard come out of
Macy.
City Council chambers. Oh. Nope. City Council chambers is, let a judge decide.
True.
Let a judge decide.
Yeah.
So why do we go through all the
wait a minute. Was that Sam Sutter's
No, that's Joe
chief
Camara.
of staff? Oh, Joe Camara.
Joe Camara, who will always say, we're wasting so much time arguing about it.
Let a judge decide.
Let a judge decide. And that's the bottom line is we keep this going is does he have the right? Doesn't he have the right? And let's take a walk down memory lane, if we will.
Executive order.
When the city council, I believe it was in 2014, that lovely city council meeting where
Linda Pereira,
the Mortal Kombat video that still will always be my favorite
Linda
video.
Pereira and Elizabeth Souza engaged in combat that day when
verbal combat.
Yeah, it was based on the fact that the city council was very upset that they just pushed this pay-as-you-throw through without their say. Right. They went through executive order, and the corporation council felt like they were allowed to do this legally based on the public services, right?
So here's
health.
Where our current city council is in quite the conundrum. Okay?
Yes.
If they're to say that Jazel has absolutely no right to get rid of that contract, then Jazel can fire back that the contract is illegal because Will Flanagan never had a right to initiate the contract.
Right. But if it was put into ordinance, does that have anything to do?
What was put into ordinance?
I gotta find the ordinance.
Because, and that's the thing, everybody keeps saying it was put. If we're talking about the purple bags being put into ordinance, I want to be in court when this thing gets there, because it is nothing. It is worthless. I've said that from the jump.
I gotta be very honest. I have to pull up the ordinance. And again, I feel like in this conversation, I'm taking the city council side, and I'm not. I'm just trying to present questions. But I can pull up the ordinance if you want me to. But I think that I guess I'm trying to find where the city council feels they have a say. But I also think that I also think that the mayor thinks the city council has a say, because when they turned it down, the word out of City Hall basically was that, oh, we're going to be stuck with the bags now because the city council doesn't want to get rid of them.
Okay, but to me, all right, and that makes me happy. Okay, and let me tell you why. We're in the 5th year, guys. We're in the 5th year.
It was a 5-year contract.
It's a 5-year contract. We're in the 5th year. And again, I'll say it. Retailer after retailer has stopped selling the bags. Not that they make any money off them. There is no monetary value to any retail business for selling the bags at all. This agreement,
this is on the Waste Zero contract, and it's the number 1 part of the contract. Number 1, term. This agreement will be binding on all parties for a period of the effective date of this agreement until 5 years from the effective date. Upon the expiration of the initial term, at the sole discretion of the municipality, the term of the agreement will renew for 5 additional 1-year terms, each of such 5 1-year terms as an extension term. So we're approaching this now.
Well, once the 5th year is over, then they would have to...
2000, right. But isn't it, if it was signed in 2014...
It would be for 19.
Right, for 19, yeah.
Okay, yeah. But here's the thing. This year's budget...
We're entering...
We're entering the 5th year budget. That's where I'm talking about. So I'm sorry if I confused anybody.
Yeah.
We're heading into the 2018-2019 fiscal year, and that is what's important in this contract. Right. So as soon as yesterday when I went and I looked at the date of the contract, it made me happy. All this talk that y'all doing, right? It's all pre-election talk. That's all it is.
So by 2019, when the contract's
up, right?
In July,
4 months before the next election. Think about this, guys. He's genius. And if it was an accident, the way that it's all coming out, I'm like, this couldn't be more perfect. Because here's the thing, right? We've barely sold any bags throughout the time the program is in. We know this.
This program's working.
Yeah. We've barely sold any bags. So
you don't think the program's working? The program's working. They told you so. And
here's my thing to any city council. Logically think about this, guys, man. If you sit, I hope you're sitting at your home, in your home, and you're relaxing on the couch and you're listening to this. Because I don't understand who the hell you're listening to. Think about it for a minute, right? We literally have 1 year left to this contract. We're into the last fiscal year, okay? So if there's really very little enforcement, if there's I just don't see how, even if they wanted to keep it this one last year, it's going to be bad for you next election.
Not to mention, and I just want to throw it out there that Councilor Pam LaLiberty LeBeau and Councilor Sean Kadim specifically really felt like there should be a doubling down, a hardening of the resolve to enforce compliance.
And here's the thing, folks, right? The next fiscal budget, the 2019-2020 budget will still be given by Jazel. So we're not, he's not magically going to say, after saying now, even if they keep it, the city council's like, no, we're not getting rid of it, and it stays, just for this fiscal year. He's not going to renew the contract. So he's going to literally have 4 months where citizens, 4 months before the election, where citizens don't have to buy bags. Where they no longer have to buy purple bags before the election. You don't think that residents are going to vote for him and not vote for the people who wanted to push it?
Now, I want to also throw out there that Councilor Sean Kadim mentioned that there are other cities like Fall River that have successfully run pay-as-you-throw.
Is Seekonk doing pay-as-you-throw?
I don't think so. Not that I know of.
Isn't he city administrator over in Seekonk?
I heard that he is, yeah.
Is he trying to get a pay-as-you-throw program in Seekonk?
It's working so well in Fall River.
After all, I mean, if he's going to say it's working so great here, I hope he's pushing the program in Seekonk.
Seekonk, yeah.
Be nice to know that.
Be interesting.
I can find out.
Be interesting to see that. Well, Seekonk's probably not comparable to
Well, it's not.
I actually think Seekonk. I think it would work better in Seekonk than in Fall River. To be honest with you,
it wouldn't work in Seekonk either.
I think it would.
It's not really working anywhere.
No.
I don't know what anybody like. It's so comical to me when people stick up for it.
I didn't say it would work well. I said it would work better.
And you know, this is where it's so fun for me, right? Is because the one example that we hear about all the time is Worcester. If there are so many communities that are having such great success, why are we only hearing about Worcester?
Well, honestly, Sean didn't say Worcester. As a matter of fact, Sean didn't specify any place, which was that made me feel like it was more rhetoric than it was actual
because he didn't
facts.
go through any of the data himself.
He might have data on him. I don't know. What I do know is that I've looked everywhere in Massachusetts to see where you could reasonably say it's successful, and I'm not seeing it. And now I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I'm just not seeing it.
This is a ball.
That's comparable to Fall River, I should say. I want to be clear. Comparable to Fall River. I think the city that's most comparable to Fall River is New Bedford, and they don't have a bag program.
There are so many intricacies with trash that I want. It's so hard to explain it all to, because it's not just trash. Like even this morning on Facebook, somebody said, every town that surrounds us uses pay as you throw. Why can't we just do it?
Except New Bedford.
Here's the thing with that,
which is the most comparable city in our area.
Here's the thing with that, though. Did those towns buy trash carts and recycling carts? Did those towns and municipalities spend millions of dollars on new trucks? Do they have Casella as their recycling contractor that makes you sort out your recycling like it's new math? Like it's insane how all the rules you have to follow in our recycling program right now. Other cities don't have that same kind of thing going on. No, because okay, and here's the thing with that, right? So Go ahead. When the city received the larger 95-gallon trash carts, that's what upped our recycling numbers. Not the damn purple bags.
Oh, the size of the barrels?
The size of... Clearly. The size of the barrels.
They had these little blue ones at one point in time, and then they got these bigger blue ones.
They were 18. The smaller blue ones.
Right,
were like
and then the recycling numbers went up, but the prices were still manageable. It was still in the 40s.
Because this is the thing that nobody talks about either. The amount of items that we can recycle did not really change. It's still the same as when it was just paper, plastic, and glass. It's the same. It's the exact same. It boggles the mind that if we're not upping the items that can be recycled. So if you put oily salad dressing bottles into the recycling, that's considered a contaminant. And even if you wash it and you rinse it out and it's got that little bit of grease residue, it's still considered a contaminant. We made more money and the city was better off before the blue carts when it came to our recycling. The larger carts did increase the recycling, but in addition to pay as you throw, people are now putting trash into the recycling. So if you get rid of pay as you throw, you will see our numbers stay the same. We just lose that revenue. So how do we fix that? How do we get revenue? Or how do we decrease what we're spending? We decrease what we throw out. Well, how do we do that? Let's do a plastic bag ban. How about doing a styrofoam ban? That doesn't cost the city of Fall River anything. That's free. To initiate, we know our city council loves their ordinances. Let's make Cliffy, right? Wants to get rid of pay as you throw so bad, but he knows we need the revenue. Hasn't done a damn thing to better our solid waste program. Not a damn thing, not one idea. I'm giving you a few ideas. Get rid of plastic bags, get rid of styrofoam. There's no need to package things in styrofoam. You could package them in cardboard boxes. You could package them other ways in glass containers, plastic containers that can be recycled. We're not talking about that. They're only talking about the revenue. Because here's the thing about pay as you throw in the stupid purple trash bags. If we reduce the trash that we generate, the city loses that money. And I believe wholeheartedly our elected officials are not being honest with us. They're making it seem like the residents are the ones who are creating all of this trash that costs so much money to get rid of. When you do the math, right, and I'm sure there's people out there who help me with that math, we know that. Take the number, the total number of trash tonnage that we have and divide it by what we pay per ton in our tipping fee. It averages out as of 2017 to about $1.7 million. Recycling was about $560,000. So we're talking what it was like $2.3 million just to get rid of. Just to get rid of our trash and our recycling. Not what it costs to haul it, not what it costs to collect it. That's just to dispose of it. 2.3.
Which is we collected
fine.
from the bags, yeah.
Where's the other 3 million? Why is it so expensive? But do we hear any of our elected officials talk about that? No. The only thing they say is buy the bags. Don't eat steak. Buy the bags. Stop kicking the can down the road. Buy the bags. No, come up with a better idea.
Stop buying coffee.
How about, all right, and here we constantly hear about purple bags. If you want to have a bag program, a metered program, that's fine. But then you have to do it for recycling and yard waste. Because yard waste gets thrown in when they say, so our trash costs this much. It's not just residential trash. It's the trash from the school departments. That may be changing as of 2018, but as of 2017, we were still including trash totals. The trash and recycling from businesses. If we don't know how much we're collecting from businesses, separately from schools, separately from residential, there is nobody who can say that they can change the way we're running things. And that's how I know they're all blowing smoke up our rear ends. They're not talking about the actual facts. They're just saying they either say you either have to buy the bag or you don't. We either like the bag or we don't. But what are you doing about our solid waste problem? That's not doing anything about our problem. People have been bitching about the bag since it started, and I don't know why Pamela Liberty LeBeau is saying nobody complained. She definitely, her and I have had conversations that I will gladly, in my messages, that I will gladly share with everybody to show that I have told her how much I can't stand the damn program. So even if she said only a handful of people, she's not.
My favorite topic. That's my favorite commentary that's come out of this whole thing is that there's a vocal minority that is against the purple bags, not the. I'm assuming if we're looking at the vocal minorities yelling, then it's this famous silent majority that is perfectly fine with the purple bags.
Well, that small vocal minority recalled the mayor. That small vocal minority got rid of Sam Sutter too. And his might not have been purple bag related, but his was illegal monthly trash fee. His was another elected official trying to set another fee onto residents. That is exactly what you guys are doing now. So by all means, the wonderful 9, please keep pay as you throw, because I cannot wait until the next election.
Well, I wanna throw out there too that this is just throwing me off. But isn't it concerning if someone an elected official uses the term vocal minority? That means that they're willing to dismiss people who don't agree with what they want to do policy-wise.
So they hear the people.
Yeah, and they're ignoring it. Isn't that kind of concerning too?
And here's the thing. Even if it's a minority, you serve everyone.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not understanding where this is coming from. And then I know that there was I remember a while back.
Elections are won and lost by small numbers.
I remember a while back Linda Pereira saying that these people don't care about, they're just being defiant. They don't care about making the city better. Things like that. They're just being defiant.
And we're free riders.
There was some people that said that. I think that I'm pretty sure was Sam Sutter's chief of staff. Can't remember his name at the moment right now, but him.
And what does that tell you? We can't even remember.
He called them freeloaders.
Lou Pacheco.
Called everyone a bunch of free riders, or freeloaders. And
where is he now?
But my issue is that there are a lot of freeloaders in politics and government anyway. But But my issue with that is I'm not someone that expects sanitation to be free. I want the government to be affordable.
Right.
And there's a difference between the two. When I look at the expenses that go out to departments, and I look at the fact that 5%, maybe 6%, if we're lucky, is put into community maintenance. Mm-hmm. And then there's a lot of guys in community maintenance that don't want to do the sidewalk work, that don't know how to use the equipment. Mm-hmm. Some of the equipment that's out there, like the graffiti equipment, they're not trained on. They don't want to train. Like when you see all this stuff going on around the neighborhood and the community, you know that you're not getting the most out of your tax dollars. Mm-hmm. So don't come to me and say we need you to pay for this when the government isn't willing to renegotiate with their unions to make tax dollars work for the people more. They're not willing to do that. I think Jayzel to some degree is willing to shake some cages a little bit. But for the most part, everyone wants to keep this game going the way it is and only add in when they need it to have you, the taxpayer, pay more. That is all that's going on right now. I'm not seeing a whole lot of effort outside of politically motivated yelling. I haven't seen a whole lot of effort. I haven't seen a whole lot of effort in scaling back on our pension liability costs, right? Mm-hmm. I haven't seen that. I see more of our tax dollars going towards medical benefits and retirement benefits than maintenance of the city. Do you think that that's a good model for the city to thrive on?
Nope.
Do you think that's a good model? I'm not hearing anybody, and I'm not talking, it doesn't matter what side you come from, I'm not hearing anybody at all talk about reducing government cost. I'm not seeing that at all.
Because that's not what they care about.
So again, that's not me talking about not wanting to pay for something. That's me saying that instead of pointing a finger at the taxpayer to come up with cost, why don't you point the finger at your own government right now? That is completely, way over the top expensive right now.
It's the same thing giving your kid lunch money, right? Give your kid lunch money. Kid goes to school, comes home, says they didn't have enough money to eat. I wanted more. Nope. You gotta. It's a give and take.
Yes.
It's a give and take. You just don't blindly give people money without questioning where the hell it's going.
You let your daughter borrow a credit card?
You wouldn't do it to your kids. And that's what's so mind-boggling to me when everybody's like, but we should keep the bags. It's like, but are you questioning why you need to buy the bags in the first place? Because if you're not questioning why you need to buy those bags in the first place, you're asking the wrong questions.
That's it.
It's so wrong. And I've been asking the damn question for 4 years. 5 probably. I can't even take it. It's mind-boggling. Oh, and I want to say this. Let me say this here first, right? This is my premonition for next election. Linda will be backing Jayzel. And you can tell me I'm crazy. Linda Pereira will be backing Jayzel in the next election. Mock my words.
That's Nikki's opinion.
Yep.
That's not my opinion.
Yep.
Nah.
Yep.
Nah.
Guaranteed. Yep.
Nah.
Yep. I've been waiting. You know how I've been connecting the dots for the last 5 years. I promise you that come this time next year, that woman will be supporting Jayzel.
There's some things in the world that you can bank on in life. One thing I will bank on is that Linda Pereira will not support.
Yes, she will.
Jayzel Correa.
I'm banking on the fact that she will.
This has been an ongoing feud since he was like a youngin'.
Yep, and everybody is going to be so surprised. Not me, though. Not me. Definitely not.
Nah. I'm not going with it.
Absolutely. And as a matter of fact, I'd be willing to say that it's quite possible that some of the city councilors who want to keep paying Jethro right now and are throwing rocks at Jayzel will be supporting him next year too.
Because of the contract expiration?
I will guarantee it.
Oh boy, that's right.
You forgot about that, didn't you, buddy? I didn't. I've had my eye on this since 2013.
Well, I'll tell you something. I had a conversation. Well, now I sound like Ray Mitchell. I'll tell you something. Let me tell you something.
You forgot about that, didn't you?
Well, I will just let you know that I did have a conversation very, very recently about that topic, and
I know
by the way,
right.
by the way,
I know I'm right.
by the way, everyone, Nikki wrote down something that I guess she didn't want me to say out loud. So I know what she's mean. Now I know why she's saying what she's saying.
It makes sense, don't it?
So
Sure
I will say
does.
I did have a conversation with somebody about that specific topic, and it did sound as if that is the only answer.
No.
It is the only answer. But
Tell me I'm wrong.
but privately invested.
But that's where it's going to change. You'll see. Trust me. Within the next year, by this time next year, you'll be saying, "I'm surprised at who's friendly and supportive of each other and who's not."
Yeah, but why would she be supportive of that, and why would
Because
he
she has been supportive of that
Yeah, but what's her
idea
motive?
to get back into what she lost.
Okay.
But she knows she can't win as mayor. She can get a city council seat. She could get a city council seat just like that.
But it could end up being like a graveyard for,
I don't like the idea.
Oh,
We know
you-
that. I'm not for that idea at all.
I'm for that idea if it's private.
I'm not for the idea, that idea, because I know that it's not going to work out the way that they're going to say it's going to work out.
When does it ever do that, though?
Right. All right. It's a transfer station, guys. I'm just going to say it. I did say something about it online. I totally believe that this is where it's going, to a transfer station. And what I can tell you is the unions support a transfer station.
Because they think it's going to be...
Well, it does. It does,
Right.
no matter what. Even if it's a private transfer station, it's more jobs for union workers. That no matter what. Even if they're not city employees, it's a chance for a union to unionize.
But here's my issue there now. If we have a private run transfer station,
Yep.
and they unionize their employees, which is they have their right to do that.
Yep.
Do the extra costs, are they going to fall on the taxpayer?
That's my issue with it.
Right.
That's where I say no, because that's my fear.
I'm not an anti-union individual. I really, truly am not an anti-union individual. I am, however, I'm very aware of the pendulum, and there is a pendulum when you unionize and when you don't unionize. There's still a pendulum. When you swing over to the side of the business and you don't unionize, that business can put its foot right on your neck, and I don't like that either. However, when you swing that pendulum over to the union side and the union gets too strong, they become the same entity that the government was.
Right, and that's where I need to be in the middle.
Right, I think the pendulum has to swing with a balance. I think you have a right to unionize. I think you do. I think if you don't, you're leaving yourself open to be completely destroyed by your business or your government. So I understand.
You need to make sure your union is supportive of you as well.
And your union can't bite can't bite.
Absolutely.
What is it? What do they say? Bite
the hand that feeds you.
Well, not bite the hand that feeds you. Bite your nose to spite your face.
Okay.
Meaning that you can't. If your union is so dominant politically that now for example, your pension plan is in the billions statewide,
right,
and in over 350,000 or so citywide, then obviously your union no longer has the best interest in the taxpayer.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't. I'm just being factual about it. So we need to make sure that the pendulum is balanced if you're gonna have a union situation. So, going into this transfer station discussion, if the city does incorporate a transfer station, I personally am not against it until I see how it affects the taxpayer. If the taxpayer is being affected by this in a negative way, then obviously no. We have to start finding a way to decrease the cost of our government, and it has to happen on a local level. It has to happen on a state and federal.
See, now I'm for a small Fall River only transfer station.
Right.
I don't want a transfer station that's going to take in anything from any municipality outside of Fall River, and I would say at least the first 5 years.
I don't think that's going to happen.
At least. We don't think what's going to happen. That we're not going to have. I can guarantee you right now that we will have a transfer station.
No. I know that. I'm not talking about that. I would guarantee that myself as well. What I'm saying is that I don't think that the city is going to say no if other cities.
Of course not. They're going to want to do it.
Yeah.
And this is where I'm telling the current city council to be very cautious. Be very, very cautious, because the second the talk start, the transfer station talk isn't new in Fall River.
No.
Okay. The local 251 wanted the transfer station. They actually thought they were getting a transfer station because Willie Flanagan told them they were getting a transfer station.
Billy Sylvia.
So this is something that they've been. You could go on local 251's website. Their website. They've got a few articles written about their excitement about a transfer station. And this is from 2013, 2014. So this isn't any idea it's no new idea. This has been something that has been in the works, behind the scenes for years. And today, it is the most perfect time to come forward and say, we are going to have a small-scale city-run transfer station. Because then nobody will have to buy bags. That's what he'll say. That's what the whole idea is. We'll collect the revenue, right? So that'll be added revenue that we don't have. We won't need to use the bags, and we'll get more money. So it'll be better for the city. We'll give it to the school department, and we'll be able to get more firemen on. And you know what happens then? Everybody wants it. And when everybody wants it, all you people who weren't so supportive of Jazel aren't going to get elected.
I want to throw it out there too that there's a lot of people that vote for things in Fall River that they don't know all the details on. This school situation was a very big example of that, and I want to throw out there that I don't think a lot of people know what a transfer station does,
right? And
what it actually
don't.
what the meat and potatoes of a transfer station and how it works and how it benefits the city and all that stuff. And like now we know for a fact, for example, that China is no longer accepting our recyclables, and no one has really stepped in yet to take that helm. So how does having a transfer station help with that situation?
That's another side of it where it will always be helpful if we keep it small scale and just based on Fall River's needs, okay? I don't want it to be based on the needs of outside entities because we do not have a landfill. We do not have anywhere.
And we never will,
right.
Again.
And well, we can't say that, I'll be honest with you, because Trump has changed. At the federal level, there have been many, many, many changes with regulations that have been made that may make it possible for some new landfills to open up. It is quite possible. But this is my point, is trash is so turbulent, it's not a moneymaker. If anybody is going to think of it as a moneymaker, unless you're a private business, you can't be a government entity and think that you're going to make money off of trash. The only thing that you should be wanting to do is reduce your costs. How can we figure out, how can we get our costs so low to the lowest point that we can get them? So a small transfer station to take care of our needs would be positive for our city. It really, I don't see how it couldn't be, because then we could actually separate more. We might be able to recycle items that we can't recycle now, because that's the other part of recycling that nobody talks about. It's only valuable if somebody's buying it. If everybody turns around and says, I don't want your recycling, then what? That's trash.
The case. That's the case in business in general. Demand is always going to determine the price.
Right. So, and when you try to explain to somebody that it's that turbulent of a market, that one little thing like China saying they don't want our recycling anymore makes the price skyrocket, because now these companies who are collecting it to send it to China have nowhere for it to go.
Your municipalities around the country, not just the city, the country is going to get very creative. In Fall River, all we do is put the tax, we just put it on the taxpayer. I think you're going to see some more modern thinking cities out there that might come up with some better methods of taking care of their recycling.
I tried contacting company, I believe the name of it, I did actually contact them. I believe the name of their company was Refoam It, and they take styrofoam and they recycle styrofoam. So one of my things was, why can't we collect, we have Dunkin' Donuts on every corner, we have Chinese restaurants, there are restaurants all over the place that use styrofoam containers. If we're not going to ban styrofoam, so this is where I'm saying nobody's coming up with any ideas.
Citywide composting.
I say, let's ban styrofoam, but if you don't want to ban styrofoam, then let's get into contact with somebody who recycles that styrofoam, so we're not trashing it.
Well, I remember very, very frequently you and I would talk about composting bins. I think they actually had some city issued composting bins.
We really want to even. I just explained a woman that I've never met, never spoke to, contacted me when she read my post yesterday. And I explained that to her, that we did, we don't hear anything about composting either. You don't ever hear a peep about what it costs to get rid of yard waste. Okay, and I'm going to tell you that there was baloney happening when Flanagan was the mayor with our recycling and our yard waste, going to a company that wasn't supposed to be taking our recycling and all of that stuff. So if I were a Fall River City Councilor, I would say, how much money are we paying to collect and dispose of yard waste? It's dead leaves and twigs, guys. And we're paying for it. Nobody talks about that. And you know something? If it's costing us $100,000 a year, that's $100,000 a year. Right? Nobody, no city councilor, no elected official talks about that. And guess what? You know what happens if we don't collect yard waste? Nothing.
Nothing. Nope.
Because even if people pile that stuff in their yards,
it's going to be compost.
It'll be dirt.
Yeah.
Eventually, it becomes dirt.
Yeah.
Usable, beautiful, life-giving.
Perhaps sellable.
Dirt.
Perhaps sellable, by the way.
Dirt.
Yeah.
Imagine.
Yeah.
So again, right, there are ways that we could reduce what we spend in our solid waste, but we don't have any elected official that's actually interested in doing so.
No.
And that's heartbreaking to me.
Yeah.
Because the reality that they really don't care is sad.
Well, you have some populations, probably a vocal minority out there, that says they're tired of talking about trash.
I'm tired of talking about it too. So stop making me talk about it.
The problem is that every time that we have a money issue, you always end up talking about sanitation in the process. And, we want to move the conversation to a different direction. I have no problem moving the conversation to a different direction, but if it brings us here, then maybe we need to resolve the issue. And doubling down on compliance and doubling down on enforcement and all that stuff, and you're going to spend more money to try to get people to buy bags, and it's absolutely ridiculous. And not to mention, I don't think local businesses in this area that are forced into selling purple bags even make any money off of that.
It's not that you don't think, they don't. There is no, there's no, they don't. It's not, I think they don't. No, we know they don't. They don't, any retailer who sells the bag is losing space because they have to stock it, right? So think about that.
The reason why I say I don't think they are, because maybe they are. Maybe there's something else going on. Maybe there's something else going on behind the table.
If there were more businesses who were selling the bags, then I could say maybe you've got a point.
Maybe.
But considering everybody you talk to, like, I can't tell you how many people say to me, I tried to buy the bags and I couldn't even find them. I had to go to 4 different places just to get them. What is that telling you?
You can buy purple bags online.
So like I said, right?
You can buy trash bags.
All retailers in the city stop selling bags.
Yeah.
Then how do we buy them? Like they just don't.
So you think that maybe if you want to really boycott the purple bags in Florida?
I say not want to really boycott. I say let's do it.
But I'm saying you would just boycott the stores that sell them.
Yes, we could do that too. We could boycott the stores that sell them. I didn't think about that, but we could do that.
Interesting.
I really wouldn't want to hurt the stores, so I would go and ask them just to stop selling the bags.
Are those stores helping us at all?
Not really.
No. And they don't care.
But I'm nice.
Trust me on this. They don't care.
I know, but I'm nice.
Okay, I'm just throwing it out there.
I'm nice. I still like to give people a chance. So I'd go to them and be like, hey, want to stop selling the bags? If you stop selling the bags, then I'll still continue to come here. But if
I'll get my groceries at Walgreens otherwise. Nice. I think Walgreens has bags too, don't they?
I can honestly say I don't know who sells bags.
I think that if you were to go down that route, I think that the city would figure out a way to incentivize.
I literally just texted you guys, and I wasn't supposed to text you guys.
I think that the city would find a way to incentivize businesses to sell the bags. I think that would be a very easy, fix for them. But as of right now, it's just a challenge for anyone to get any quality out of the bags. You can't really use. They rip on you so easily.
Right.
I've heard.
And mind you, they have a clause in their contract. Like, they don't have to take those bags back. They sell them as is. as is. And if a retailer doesn't sell the bags that they have, it's their loss. So that actually ends up where a retailer could be penalized because residents aren't buying bags from that retailer. Because then they have to put the bill. I wonder if that's already
a dynamic now, because we obviously know that.
I would absolutely say, I would guarantee you that's one of the dynamics, because I wouldn't see any other reason why a retailer wouldn't want to sell the bags.
Yeah.
There's no incentive for a retailer to sell the bags that we're aware of, a legal incentive for a retailer to sell the bags.
Yeah. I mean, there's always that. There's always something that a government can do with a private business to smooth it all out. That's not even.
I mean, if they're selling the bags, you have to admit, especially if it's a large amount of bags, they need a lot of space. Like how much space are these bags taking up at these retailers? Like this is the thing, city councilors, man.
Too much.
Think about that. Well, because the retailer doesn't necessarily control how many bags they get. It's like they have to play a cat and mouse game. They should only order the bags they think they're going to sell.
Right.
But you have to order X amount of bags to have on stock. Do you know what I'm saying? So they're forced into taking these bags. Like no retailer in the city of Fall River has been forced into selling the bags, and any retailer in the city of Fall River who is selling bags can stop at any time.
Is there a city in Fall River? Is there a city in Fall River? Listen to me. There's no I in Fall River, by the way. Is there a city in Massachusetts that is comparable to Fall River that is successfully using the bag program?
When I did the in-depth research I did a few years back, so this isn't current as far as 2016, 2017 data. In 2015, if I'm not mistaken, there were only 3, and I believe Fall River was included in that 3, who were similar enough that you could kind of make something, and they weren't successful with the pay-as-you-throw either. I would like anybody to forward me, and please God, do not let it be any quote from Mark Dancy, because that man's all over the country telling everybody how great every town is with pay-as-you-throw. Find me information where pay-as-you-throw is actually working. Real information too. Do your research. Show me. Show me where it's working in places that are comparable to Fall River. And when I say comparable, I mean in every way.
Is there a city in Massachusetts that's comparable to Fall River? Take pay-as-you-throw out of it.
No. No, every one of them is different. And I actually didn't realize how different each community was until I really started finding communities that were equal. One of the ones that I found that was a close possibility to us was Springfield. All right, and Springfield was a mess. Springfield was sued over their programs, their trash tax, and all kinds of stuff. Like anybody wants to look into Springfield, they notice Waste Zero never ever talks about Springfield. Like, you have to question, if a program is a good one, if it's so successful, why aren't there more people speaking out about it? They're not.
I wonder if
it's a money-making scheme.
I wonder if he's thinking about bringing the bags to Seekonk. That'd be interesting.
Well, that was because then I would go further in that and say, if they are bringing the bags to Seekonk, is he getting any donations to his campaign?
Oh, there was some...
Donate to one campaign in one town and then push the program in another.
There was some interesting... there was an interesting story out in Seekonk, actually, just as a sidebar. Someone who was trying to get elected to, I believe, the school committee. I believe it was a school committee. I'm not sure exactly now. I got to find the article. But he helped Sean Kadim with his campaign. And so I think there was some concerns brought up that there was some sort of nepotism there.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
But we knew that right at the very beginning when he said he was going to run. We knew it was going to be a problem. But for somebody, again, it shows you the character. If everybody around you is having a little bit of an issue and you're like, nah, you don't care about everybody else around you. If you're an elected official, right, who is elected to serve your constituents, serve your constituents. Serve them.
Right.
If you're not willing to talk to them, if you're going to be disrespectful, if you're going to do things no matter what, if you're going to call people vocal minority, if you're going to insult people, you're not caring about your constituency. You know, because even if you're for pay as you throw, give people reasons why. Don't just say we need the money. And if that's your only reason why, man, do some more homework.
So this was four days ago from the sunchronicle.com. I want to make sure that, like, I don't always remember every single detail of the conversation, so I want to make sure I pull this up just so I can get an idea of what this is. So,
what's the date on this article?
4 days ago.
Okay.
So controversy is swirling. This is the guy, Kyle Riley. Controversy swirling around one of the finalists for school superintendent. Kyle Riley worked for town administrator Sean Kadim's unsuccessful mayoral campaign in Fall River 2014. Kadim was on the superintendent search committee. So that's...
Kyle Riley. He did other things in Fall River too. I know that name.
So it's not that he was going for school committee. It was that he was going for the superintendent position. And this person helped Sean Kadim on his campaign. So, you know, and not to say that maybe it is above board. I mean, it might be above board, but yeah, there was definitely some concerns about that. So just throwing that out there. Just as a little sidebar. You got something over there?
No.
Oh, just personal stuff. All right. So I wanted to just go down that road. I think we did for about an hour. We went into the pay-as-you-throw fiasco.
Transportation's coming, guys.
That will still continue down this road.
And when Linda's holding a Jazel sign,
that'd be hilarious.
I'm gonna be like, I told you so.
You'll never, ever see
Yes, she will. I don't know if she'll hold a sign.
No.
Will she support him? Absolutely, wholeheartedly. Once that transfer station stuff comes up.
Yeah, but who is gonna run? So we've been having this conversation before. Actually, I mean,
if she wants to run,
I was gonna say Linda might run. Again. Linda might run for mayor again.
She won't win.
Doesn't matter.
But she knows she won't win mayor.
Rich Capsaris?
Yeah, but I'm not putting him in the same category as Linda.
Okay.
He doesn't have the same...
Cliff Ponte?
Cliff could do it. Cliff could run. I don't know if he'd win. But here's the thing. If you botch this right now, you're not going to be elected next election. There's just no way. You go to all of our previous elections, right? Anybody who was very big for pay as you throw, pretty much got the can. Mm. And remember, once upon a time, Linda wasn't for pay as you throw.
Oh,
Ray wasn't for pay as you throw.
I mean,
so like you can't throw it back at me. Yeah, but they got elected. Yeah, but they're wishy washy.
They've never taken a strong position one way or the other.
Either way.
Yeah. They've always been able to swing.
And that's my point.
Yeah.
They've
always been able to swing in the direction they've wanted to swing on that.
And watch the way they swing it in 2019.
I'll be surprised if she shows anything for Jazel at this point. I think there's a lot of people that are heavily invested in the downfall.
Here's the thing, though. Career. Something small can make people stop praising. Mm-hmm. And if he does, let's say and you don't even have to end pay as you throw for him to start the transfer station talk. Mm-hmm. All he's gonna do is start the talk. Stop throwing out the numbers like they always do. 2.5, 3.5 million, and everybody's like, ooh.
I asked around a little bit, and I asked a specific question is, are there agencies that you've reached out to that are ready to come to Fall River right now? I didn't get a no, let's put it that way. So it's very possible that they have something in the wings waiting.
It has been in the works. When they were talking about it 4 years ago.
Let me flip this whole script around a little bit. What cities in Massachusetts are comparable to Fall River that has a successful transfer station?
I hate the comparable questions. And the reason that I hate them is because there are too many intricacies. Yep. Like, seriously, it's not like 5 things. Because if it's 5 things, I can handle that. When you literally have to take into account how much money was spent, does the municipality still owe monies from previous things that were purchased? Have they bought new trucks? Are they going to need to buy new trucks? When was the last time they bought trucks? Do they have private versus city employees? Mm-hmm. There's so many. How many residential areas do they pick up for? Do they pick up for housing? Do they pick up for schools? Do they pick up for private businesses? Do they pick up solid waste or recycling for these entities? What about yard waste? What do they do with their yard waste? Fall River takes every every little thing that has to do with trash, they throw it all into one.
Yeah.
So remember years ago when I was questioning, what about the trash from the cemeteries department? And I said, all this talk about all the collecting of the things on people's graves, well, where are they going? Who's footing that bill?
Yeah.
Taxpayers are footing that bill on top of buying trash bags.
Yeah.
No, that money should be budgeted. So unless you're going through every community's budget to make sure they're budgeting the same way that Fall River is, and they're paying for things the same way that Fall River is, and they're getting the same exact grants that Fall River has gotten in the same amount of time frame, then you can.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, unless you're just looking for
the snapshot. Yeah.
And that's the thing that irritates me so much.
The reason why I asked you that question is because you know that's the common way that they
They pick a place and they look at how well they're doing.
Yeah.
Look at how good they're doing.
That conversation has been had probably in council chambers more times than any other way of having a conversation. They always say, "Oh, well, look at the comparable cities in the area." They do it with salaries. They do it with policy. So you're always
do it with our taxes.
They do it with taxes, yes. So you're going to see that question come up.
Superintendent salary.
When the transfer station conversation finally does come to the forefront, and this is the direction that the city wants to go, you're going to hear about what about comparable cities and all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
Now, what you said about transfer stations and about it depends, basically it depends, that can be said on everything. Salaries, the whole 9 yards,
Absolutely.
everything, bags, the whole 9 yards. Anytime you hear someone say, well, Taunton does this and New Bedford does that and Somerset does that, for one thing, if you look at the intricacies of Taunton, Somerset, and New Bedford,
Absolutely.
3 different places completely. Right. From Fall River too, not just from each other.
And that's the thing. And the majority of the municipalities in the state are so different from each other.
Yes.
Just there are municipalities in the state because they have such a small population. Yeah. There'll be like 5 municipalities that come together and group their trash.
But that talking point is always out there. I don't understand why it can't work in Fall River.
It works in Somerset.
Right.
You comparing two like
that conversation. That's the first thing that comes out of a regular person's support of bags. Now, from a politician's support of bags, it's about the money, right? So you have those 2 talking points at all times.
But even if they want to talk about the money, I'll talk about the money part of it because it's the same thing. You still have to break it down because you're still paying for every piece of it.
No, the money question isn't really that. It's how are we going to make up for the shortfall?
Well, then you look into reductions.
That's where I look at it.
You start talking about how can we save money. Years ago, when we went through the budgeting, we were like, okay, gasoline prices have been cut in half, yet you're budgeting more than you did 2 years ago. Doesn't make any sense. That's what we need accountability for. Yep. And actually, as much as I hate this whole transfer station thing, I do have to give Jazel credit. There are things that he has done in his time in office that have benefited Fall River. And I recently found out, not sure if how true it is, if it's going to happen, but if each department starts budgeting trash, that's how it's supposed to be. If you really, if you're a city councilor and you really want to keep pay as you throw around because you believe in the program, then believe in the program and come at me and say, okay, we're spending this much money on trash in the police department. We're spending this much money on trash in this department. That each department has to pay for that. You can't say you want it to be treated like every other utility, but not really treat it like a utility.
Right.
Not define it as you can't say you want to treat it like a utility, but then
that's convenience. That's just out of convenience.
Like I'm trying to explain to people, I don't care if we have the bags or not. That's not my argument. My argument is we don't need them. And that everybody's like, we need these purple bags. No, we don't.
I need them to recycle.
Yeah, no, you don't. Like, I know I've recycled more since I've been buying the bags. So are you gonna now not recycle more? Then it's your fault. Then you're the jerk. Stop doing it.
I need the bags to make me recycle.
Ugh, I can't take it.
I need them to make me recycle. Do you remember people?
I do. There are a lot of things, and I have many conversations with many people. That's why it frustrates me that our elected officials aren't doing a better job. Whether or not they support it, you still need to know what the hell you're talking about. Even if you support it and you want to keep it around, tell me why. I'm the person, I'll compromise with you, man. If you can come to me and show me that there's valid reasons to keep pay as you throw around, I promise that I'll tell everybody that this, but it's not. Like, but you want, please tell me you understand what I'm saying.
You've met with a couple of counselors who walked away from the conversation with you saying, you know what, I'm not going to support this, and then what happens?
Yeah.
They get with their little hacky friends.
Well, and they're also not on the council.
Yeah, they get, well, yeah. But they get with their little hacky friends. They get influenced by their circle.
What it is because they don't want to lose the position they got.
Of course.
That's all that is.
Of course.
Keep questioning how they're making what, $16,000 a year now?
So I'd like to present that I believe this whole purple bag thing, if you're in support of keeping purple bags at this point in the game, it's for political reasons.
Yes, absolutely.
You do not want Jazel to get a touchdown with this political football.
And he's going to. Sorry, guys.
You do not want your recallers to have a victory.
I already won. I do feel like we won.
Not you personally. I'm saying I think that if you're in a position of supporting this, it has very, very little to do with the $2.5 million or so that you feel is so vital to the budget, because I think you're ignoring that. This is just my opinion, but I think you're ignoring that 2 years in a row, 2 budgets in a row of gloom and doom. We're not going to meet our figures. We're going to have a shortfall. This administration doesn't know what it's doing.
Not even knowing how to vote on the budget.
You know what we should really do? You know what we should really do is pull up some of the commentary over the past 2 years during budget season of what they think this administration is going to do with the budget. Mm-hmm. We're going to fall short. We're not going to have enough money. We're going to run out of money in the middle. We've heard them say all these things, and it has not happened.
Yeah.
And now we're doing this again.
Yeah.
Where your administration is trying to get rid of what they recognize as a burden and a failure to the city.
Which is his job. That's his job.
They've recognized as a burden and a failure to the city. And you're saying no, that we need to double down on all the methods that didn't work in the past in order to keep it. Right? Yeah. Based on you not believing that the figures are going to come up again. And that's what it's really about. You're thinking that these figures that they've presented are not going to add up. They've been able to run 2 budgets successfully in a row.
Absolutely.
Without a shortfall. They've been able to add more.
Zero-based budgeting.
Yeah. They've been able to add more to the stabilization account. They've been able to come up with the school spending, the net school spending, right? They've been able to do all these things, but you're going to say no to get rid of purple bags because you don't think that they're going to raise enough, $2 million to cover this shortfall. That's what you're saying. Because that is insane.
And let me just remind you, when you look at the data, the amount of our solid waste has gone down dramatically. Which can be, credit needs to be given to the fact that Jazel stopped construction and demolition debris and other things from being taken in at the city level. So those are positive changes that reduce what we generate. I'm just looking at this from a very objective point of view. 2 budgets have been passed. I've listened to every single comment in the budget, in the last 2 budget debates, right? I've heard them literally say they were fearful that we were going to get sued by the trash union. Mm-hmm. That didn't happen. Or it didn't. They settled at $250,000 when Ray Mitchell and a handful of other people were saying that we were going to get buried financially forever by this. Didn't happen, right? They were able to meet all their figures, and they were able to pass another budget where they met all their figures. Right. We're not in a shortfall. We're not having. We're meeting our net school spending. We're doing what we need to do. He was able to negotiate with the fire department and the police department and the teacher. Like, he's been able to do all these things. Don't we have more firemen that aren't on the grant either? Like, they were able to...
So they've been able to run their budget. So why are we not looking objectively at this and then saying, oh, no, they're not going to meet their figures on pay as you throw. They're not going to meet their figures on pay as you throw. No, they're not going to meet their figures. What? Where's the evidence that they've had trouble meeting figures? Yep. As a matter of fact, they had an opportunity to consolidate costs in MIS. Yep. And it was the city council that decided to make that all disappear. Mm-hmm. And then they come back 6 months later blaming public safety is the most important thing. You guys, no, guy, you did that. You did that.
And I love when they forget.
Come on. Come on. But you know what's my problem? Voters forget.
They do. We do.
I'm the only person talking about the last 2 budget seasons where there was doom and gloom from the city council, and the mayor has been able to run 2 budgets without a shortfall. Mm-hmm. Okay? So we need to start maybe recognizing that before you throw your input in and say no to programs that people want to get rid of because you don't think they're going to meet figures again. Again.
No, it doesn't have anything to do with that. It's got to do with they want to keep it, so it's just more of look at this.
It's a political
look
move.
At this.
Right,
look at this.
Move.
Because then, if the pay as you throw battle were to cease today, what other battle do they have?
I really don't think that they would have much.
They don't.
I don't know where their battle would be, to be honest. If you're an anti-Jazel city council, which basically we can just say that's what you are, right? So if you're an anti-Jazel city councilor right now, I think you have 2 battlefronts. You have the FBI thing, and you have some of the promises that he made in this campaign. The big one being the purple bags. I think those are your 2
But he's
major...
not the only one who made that promise. There were city councilors who made that same promise.
City councilor Cliff Ponte made that promise. His first year.
And hugely made that promise.
Huge?
Hugely.
Hugely? I'm going with
I said it right.
Yeah, well, I'm saying it Donald Trump way. So, I'm doing the hand thing, too.
Well, then you'd have to go.
Oh, yeah. My pink
tiny hands.
Well, anyway, my friends, I have to work. So,
tiny bubbles.
Yes. I have to work, and that is the only reason why I'm cutting this into a hour and 36-minute show, because I gotta work. I got things I gotta do, unfortunately. In this podcast, I don't get paid for it. So, gotta go right now.
I get paid.
In love.
In friendship and love.
Yes. As a matter of fact, Nikki made her triumphant return to Facebook, and a lot of people were very glad to see it, including myself.
Not that I was surprised.
I talk to Nikki every single day. We have text messages about this stuff all day long, and I just gotta say something because I know there is a perception that I don't have my own formulated opinions on these things. Derek, Nikki, Trot, we're like a Scooby gang. We are.
Oh yeah.
We throw all our stuff on the table and hash it all out. And we all have our thing. I don't want anyone to think that Derek doesn't think for himself, or I, or Nikki.
Absolutely not.
We all throw in the mix. And I'd throw Edward Costa in there, or Costa, in there as well, because there are 4 stars on that city top 4.
You can say Edward Acosta. Wait, no. Edward. No, never mind. I don't know what I was going where I was going with that.
but I think like when Ed was here, and even you could throw Mike D'Oliveira out there as well. When we get together, we all throw in our input and we all kind of brainstorm and go back and forth on stuff. And I like to personally ask the devil's advocate type questions. I don't go as hard as Mike D'Oliveira does, Necessary Media, and as he does with the devil's advocate stuff. But I like to try to get people to throw out all the angles, so that way we can, try to find and hash out answers. So I've always appreciated this thing. I'm always going to keep on doing it. But like I said, right now, I got to go to work. So I will talk to you all later.
Work.
I wish I could go. I wish I could play that as the outro. I don't like the lyrics to that song as much, but I love
the lyrics.
I love the music to that.
I just have a kid who listens to the damn song.
The music to that is outstanding. I love the music to that song. Anyway, everyone have a great day. Thank you so much for listening, and we will be back probably next week. I'm pretty sure of it. All right.